you know, they're going to walk away from that oil and gas like Colonel Sanders is going to walk away from chickens. That's how they make their living. They're not going to walk away from it. But if they were stupid enough to try to do something like that, then the state better have some backbone. The state better say, you guys have had these leases for 30 years and you haven't done nothing with them, and we're going to take them back and give it to somebody that will. There is oil companies in this country that still want to drill for oil and sell it. I mean, you know, we got to pay hardball with them. We had to go to court with them before. I'm not afraid of that. I hear these advertisements on TV and see them where they make a big point about the pipeline only being a third full. Well, whose fault is that? Who hasn't been drilling for oil? It's not my fault it's third full. And Alaskans are a resilient people, and if we have to tighten our belt up for a few years rather than being a colony of these oil companies, by God, I say let's do it. And I encourage you Democrats to go down there. You fought last time hard for the gross profits, the tax for every barrel of oil came out of the ground. I see one legislator standing here and I want to comment. He has come out publicly and stated he's for the gross profit tax. And he's right. Thank you, Scott, for doing that. From some of the others, I sometimes think I hear a little wishy-washy, and I don't like to hear it. I was very disappointed in the governor, Sarah Palin. She first came out and said she was for the gross profit tax. And then I guess the big fat Republicans got her in the back room and told her, girl, you're going to have to change your tune. You're not sounding like a good Republican anymore. So now she's come out with this Morphodite bill she's got here. So I would encourage you to go to back to Juneau and do exactly what you did in the last session, is fight hard for the gross tax. And if you're outvoted, you're outvoted. You fought the battle there. Don't go down there and get wishy-washy on us and let them convince you that we've got to go along with this, or that the oil companies are going to be dissatisfied with us if we don't. And so, you know, that's kind of my message to you. I'm tired of being gamed with these oil companies, and I'm sure tired of being threatened by them. That's all I have.
That's great.
Danny?
Yeah, I agree a lot with what you're saying. I first went to work, my name is Glenn Carlo, and I've been born and raised here, and I first went to work for the oil companies in '69. And I worked 10 years for BP as a field production operator. And don't you believe for 1 minute what they're telling you. They're lying, thieving bastards. And I don't know why it's called a tax when it's Alaska. It should be a product. They're buying a product, and that's what they should be paying for, a product, gas or oil. And it shouldn't be called a tax. That's all I have.
It should be a partner.
For those of us that might not fully understand it, as you progress through your next 30 days, how are you going to get back with us to let us know maybe on a daily or every other few days one more change of plan so that we can better understand what's taking place in June?
I think probably gavel would be the best way for people to keep track of it than for us to try and interpret everything that took place and keep some kind of flow of information going back and forth, because that would be truly where you can actually listen to the experts themselves as they present to the various committees in the House and the Senate.
So from what
I was just going to say too that oil and gas is going to be the first committee referral, and I should on oil and gas. Brody is going to be here. Brody can understand. He'll be here. He decided to stay up here and kind of keep the public aware of what's going on while we're in June. So we'll be in contact every day. I'll try and post updates frequently, and everything can be received through him. So through the Legislative Information Office, Alaska USA, and we'll try and keep daily updates posted on where we're at as far as project work.
So from what I understand, Gavel to Gavel will be back on the air for those of you who had it before. I don't know how you get it here. I think GCI cable carries it. I get DishNet, and I'm told that there's a local component that I don't have that will carry it. But if you want to watch it, and you don't have access to it, and you don't have a fast web connection, it's all going to be online on the web, podcast or whatever they call it, the current thing. You can go to the Fairbanks LIO and sit there and watch it if you want to, or I think if you want to see a 7-minute and missed it, then they'll be able to play it back. Probably if you go up to campus and KUAC will have it. There'll be lots of ways. I will continue doing Problem Corner, the Steve Floyd show on Tuesdays from 11 to 12. I'll be calling in, hopefully giving updates for things. Sometimes the press is good as, Stephanie, are you going down to Juneau?
No, I'll be here.
Okay. Well, sometimes the press, by the time a story comes in, it's already moved on. That's kind of one of the as fast as we think communication is these days. Something hits the press, we've already passed it on to something else. But the phone numbers here, call forward down to Juneau. There's staff here. There'll be staff in the offices down there. You know, all the ways, just pick up the phone and give us a call. We will be focusing on one issue. So as far as communication goes, we can try and get it out as much as we can through various means. It's very fluid, but you can pay attention to gavel gavel.
No, I was just going to mention that there are plenty of us that don't have cable or don't have satellite dish, and so that's not very helpful. If it was broadcast, you know, via high-speed internet, many more of us could probably tap into it.
It is on. Gavel's online. You can watch it all.
Oh, it is?
It's ktoo.org. K2 is the name of the television station that does Gavel to Gavel, and they have a link there.
I do. Thank you very much for having this meeting tonight. The governor's made it pretty clear she wants to have hearings around the state on this issue. What are your plans to try to have hearings around the state? That's my first part of my question, and I'll follow up after that.
Well, they tell us that they expect us to be in Juneau for 30 days, but without leaving on the weekends or anything. And when I first went to Juneau, I thought it was simply because I hadn't gotten enough business going yet to be able to travel home on the weekend. So I kept hearing people standing up and asking to be excused for state and personal business, and then they would leave on the weekend. And I thought, well, I guess I need to get more involved here or something to do this. And finally I found out, well, they're just going home for the weekend again, and let's do anyhow. So. But I also will be reporting back on the same Clear Channel station, KISM, whatever it is, 96.9, I believe. They'll be broadcasting that on Friday and Saturday, I believe. That will be about a short 3-minute report. But in response to your question, the governor plans to take her folks around, but the legislature will be meeting. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of opportunity to leave Juneau and actually hold meetings during that time, but I guess we'll have to see how some of that plays out anyhow. It may well be that there's the opportunity, may not be.
Okay, thank you. The second part of my question is you were all at the governor's briefing on Friday, and I thought her staff did a great job. Very sincere, very honest, very dedicated. They laid it all out. But very dense, very dry material. And I saw some people with their eyes closed as Patrick Galvin was giving his pitch. And I thought what would be helpful if we can have an adversarial dialogue where the proponents of ACES debate the Democrats who have a gross plan so that you can make this information more presentable. And what would be wrong with having a series of public debates throughout Alaska debating the merits of the gross plan versus the merits of the ACES plan? Would you be amenable to doing something like that?
If you had the right people, I think that'd be a good idea. Hopefully that's almost what takes place through this process.